What is going on, everyone? Welcome to week 8 of the Mark and Graham podcast. We went on a little hiatus due to, school and schoolwork and being busy, but we are back. And week 3 of the NFL is looking very interesting. So get hyped for an NFL-packed episode. Mark, if you want to give us a rundown of what we hit about 2 weeks ago, right before the start of week 1 on that Thursday.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Sorry for the long break, but we have a lot of schoolwork. We're both doing things outside of school as well, outside of class, um, covering our own school sports. But last week, or 2 weeks ago, if you remember on the podcast, we covered a little bit of baseball talk with what was going on with the Mets at the time. We talked Hard Knocks, wrapping that up with John Gruden. We went through an odd segment that included the best head coaches currently in football. Belichick, Doug Peterson, and Andy Reid atop that list. And we ran through the Sunday slate. 2 weeks ago, Graham chose all of the games. He gave a score for all of them. Head back to episode number 5 to check that out. Check out what games he got right, which games he didn't. And then we wrapped it up with the MVP conversation. So this week we have a lot of fun stuff coming up as well. Like Graham said, NFL episodes. We are getting into the heart of the season. Week 3 starts tonight. Couldn't be more excited. How about you, Graham?
Yeah, I'm really pumped. I'm really excited for the Giants to finally get their first win. Daniel Jones is starting. We'll touch a little bit up on that. The Eagles definitely underperformed in my mind against the Falcons, and I'm sure you'll talk about that a little bit. But let's dive right into our clown of the day. Mark, you could touch up on the Eagles real quick.
I personally, for my clown of the day, it was an extremely disappointing loss on Sunday Night Football. Eagles, a lot of people might say the clown is Carson Wentz. Yeah, he didn't look like himself in the first half, but he didn't look like himself in the first half of the Redskins game either. The offense was slow, but just like the week 1 against the Redskins, Wentz bounced back in the second half, played a great game. He got them right in a position to win, and I think it all just goes back to the problem the Eagles had for the past 5 years with their secondary. The safeties are incredible, arguably the best duo in football with Malcolm and Rodney McLeod. But corners are undersized. They lack talent, they lack ball skills, and they allowed Julio Jones to break a 60-yard touchdown on a wide receiver screen on 4th down. And I get it. It's 4th down. You go give everything you have to try and make that stop and win the game. But you have to have one of your corners or your safeties playing prevent to make sure you don't give up a touchdown. Even if you give up a first down there, you're still in the game, and you still can hold them to a field goal to tie. They went all for the down stop, and it bit them. And Julio Jones broke a touchdown as one of the top 3 receivers in the NFL. I just think we had gotten the best of the Falcons twice before in the last 2 seasons. Once in the division round of the playoffs, our Super Bowl year, and once in week 1, the NFL opener last year. But this time, Julio Jones got the best of us, and it was bound to happen with the secondary that we're rolling out there week after week.
But you also can't hide from the fact that Atlanta has almost some sort of 3-headed monster going on with Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, and Mohamed Sanu. And we're starting to see the production that Falcons fans hope when they had Roddy White and Julio Jones together. And I think Calvin Ridley is really starting to grasp his goal on this team, and that's to, one day take over once Julio Jones leaves. Because honestly, Julio Jones just signed an extension, excuse me. Falcons need to win a Super Bowl. And that starts with defense. They're terrible on the defensive side of the ball. And but again, so are the Eagles. So can't really make an argument here. But I'm going to stick with the football theme today. My clown of the day goes to the referees of that Browns-Jets game. They fined Jamal Adams $21,000 for a roughing the passer call And Mark, I don't know if you saw it, but Jamal Adams saw it, and he went straight to Twitter with it. And he basically said, "I'm going to keep playing my form of football. I'm not going to listen to any of these blank words." And if any of you know Jamal Adams, he is one of the best safeties and one of the most hard-hitting safeties in the NFL. And I think ever since almost almost the lockout, that NFL, referee lockout, I feel like NFL referees just haven't gotten the same respect, and I feel like they suck a lot more, for the lack of better terms. What do you feel?
I definitely think that's an argument there. We had this conversation about Major League Baseball umpires earlier summer, and it's just like I feel like there should be a prime to a referee's career where once you get past that certain age, you retire and let a new batch come in. But these guys just, I I think the biggest thing too is with this new rule where you can review pass interference calls, you're walking into the territory where it's like you refs can't make a wrong call. If it's getting reviewed, you need to get it right. And I think it was a lot easier when that wasn't an option, when replay wasn't the way it is now. It was a lot easier to handle a missed call and say that that's just human nature. But now it's like you have all the tools out there to get it right. How are you still going to make mistakes like this that are costing teams games, costing players money? And it's just not an even playing field. It doesn't seem like they're using the same rules for every single call they make. That's not okay in my books. You're in a league where it's highly competitive, and all 32 teams deserve to have a fair shot at winning every single week. And I just think refs are making too much of an impact on these games. It's just not the way that I remember watching football, and I don't think it's the way football should be moving forward.
Everything you said made perfect sense. And with that, let's talk about, we've been alive since 99, and there have been some crazy calls. So I'm going to ask you, what are two calls that you've seen since, you started watching the NFL that have really made you just go like that with your head?
My first one is obvious. I would say that Saints call last year against the Rams was that missed call historic. Excuse me. I've never seen something like that blatantly obvious go by the wayside in such a crucial moment, because I get it. In a week 3 regular season game, if you miss a call like that, it's not the end of the world. It's got to be expected. Or especially even in the first quarter of a playoff game, like maybe you miss a call like that and you're not going to say that call came back and cost them their season or cost them that game. But when you are in that moment of an NFC conference championship game, the refs have got to be on their game, looking at every single second, every single direction of every play, and to miss a call like that was awful.
It was embarrassing.
The Saints win the Super Bowl last year. If not for that call, I promise you that.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. I think the Tuck rule was one of the most game altering rules put in the books. For people who don't know what the Tuck rule is, it was AFC Championship game. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Snowing. Charles Woodson's gritty Raiders versus Tom Brady's pretty boy Patriots. Tom Brady hikes the ball. Woodson comes around on a corner blitz, and Brady tucked the ball. I don't even understand the rule. Brady, it looked like he went forward, and as he was coming down with it, Woodson hit it out, and it was a fumble. The Raiders recovered it, and everyone was like, "Oh, Raiders go to the Super Bowl." No, there was a challenge. They reviewed it, and they said Tom Brady's arm was coming forward. It was not coming forward. His arm was past. It was right at his side, and he knocked it out. And that is called the Tuck rule, one of the most controversial calls in NFL history are on. Excuse me. So with that, those are obviously huge moments in NFL history. I feel like everyone should know what our favorite NFL moments in history are. And honestly, it just so happens that 4 out of the 5 of mine are in the playoffs. And this is our odd man out segment of the day. So we're also going to have a sixth one who just didn't make the list. So Mark, if you want to go first, go for it.
Yeah, so I was basically saying here, odd man out segment for the episode is going to be memorable plays in NFL history. We've already seen a couple so far this season. There's been some great games, some iconic moments already in the first couple of weeks. Yes, you could argue that Jones' touchdown against the Eagles was a pretty iconic play. Like, that was impressive. Hurt me to watch. Odell already had a great catch in Monday night's game against the Jets. But when I'm looking at plays in NFL history, my odd man out, my top 5, I'm going to start with my 6, the play that didn't make it. My odd man out is going to be the Eagles' flea flicker against the Vikings in the conference championship the year they went to the Super Bowl and won it against the Patriots. That flea flicker play shocked the Vikings and put them – if people don't remember that, the Vikings scored first in that game. Eagles came back, made it 7-7. That flea flicker play is when the Eagles started to pull away. It was shocking to see Doug Peterson he's always been a guy that has guts, makes crazy play calls in crucial moments like we're going to talk about when we get to my number 1 on the list, which I'm all sure you predict what that's going to be. But I just think that showed that Doug Peterson wasn't going to be shy in the playoffs that year. He was going to be the same guy that he had shown all regular season long.
Now,
yes.
Mark, real quick, I just want to say I had no idea who the hell Doug Peterson was when the Eagles signed him. I said they're going to get some bum. The Eagles aren't going to do anything. And then when Carson Wentz went down, I was like, yeah, there's no way. And then they won the Super Bowl. And I think that Super Bowl, I wouldn't say it put him over. All right. Maybe it puts him over Andy Reid in terms of success. But I think rich history, I think Andy Reid still has the Eagles' heart, you know?
Listen,
but I'm also a Giant fan.
You can't discount what Andy Reid did. He brought us to NFC Championship after NFC Championship, won the Super Bowl that he lost to the Patriots. But I think it got to a point where Philly was like, as somebody who lives there, listens to their sports show day after day, there was a feeling at the end of Andy Reid's tenure that Philly was just like, we need to move on. It wasn't like we hate you, Andy Reid. It was we both need a change because it's clear that we've gotten to that before over and over again and haven't gotten over the hump. Let's both go. Like a couple that their relationship got dry and change it up late in the game.
Now, do you see the same thing happening with Jason Garrett if the Cowboys don't win the Super Bowl this year?
I think they've been down that road before. I think the Cowboys are sticking with him because to be honest, I thought he should have gotten fired 2 years ago.
His contract is up.
I feel like they're gonna make the playoffs and they're gonna give him an extension. I don't know. Jason Garrett's not the answer, but I think Dallas is too scared to move on because they haven't had a coach that consistently brings them to the playoffs the way Garrett has, but he will never get them over the hump.
Were you even around in the 90s? The 90s, excuse me?
No, I'm saying since then.
Okay.
Wade Phillips never was doing that.
Yeah, Wade Phillips was not doing that.
And neither was Parcells really when he was there. So then, moving forward in my list, number 5, I'm going with Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary against the Giants playoff. That play was memorable. That season, what Rodgers did was crazy. He had the Hail Mary in the regular season against the Lions. I just remember watching it. Oh my God, this guy is like no quarterback that can make that play consistently the way Rodgers did. I get it. There's luck involved, but there's luck involved in all of these plays. But that was just wow. Rodgers stamped his mark on the NFL with that Hail Mary, even though they didn't win the Super Bowl. Number 4, another play that's gonna hurt you as a Giants fan. I love it as an Eagles fan. Miracle at the Meadowlands. Deshaun Jackson, the punt from Matt Dodge, takes it to the house, game winner as time expires. I remember watching that on my couch with my dad, and it was one of the coolest moments I've ever seen as a sports fan. Deshaun Jackson is just electric, and he has so many plays that can be on this list just because he makes such big impact, long plays. He already has 2 so far this season in the game against the Redskins. Got injured in week 2, but I'm sure we'll see more from him when he returns. Speaking of returns, number 3, Devin Hester, kick return to open up the Super Bowl against the Colts. Super Bowl, I forget what number it was. I think it was in like 2008, though. He's the only player in NFL history to start a Super Bowl with a kick return. Devin Hester, if people forget, like, you're talking about one of the most electrifying players that sports has ever seen. And it's easy because he was a guy that didn't make much of an impact on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. He came into the league. He was a wide receiver and a cornerback, which a lot of people forget about, which you don't see at all nowadays. But he really made his mark as a kick returner, and it was crazy. He returned more kicks, had more dynamic plays than I've ever seen out of that position. I think Josh Cribbs was around that time too with the Browns. If you remember, he was pretty great too, but he was never on a team that got to go to the Super Bowl. Hester is, in my opinion, the greatest special teams player of all time and made the greatest impact in a Super Bowl that a special teams player has ever made. The only argument there is maybe like Vinatieri, because I think he won a Super Bowl before.
Vinatieri has won Vinatieri won the Super Bowl for the Patriots. Or was that Gostkowski against the Panthers? No, Vinatieri was on the Patriots. Yeah. He won it. He won that Super Bowl. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on Devin Hester. He is unbelievable. So my list.
Well, I still have more to go.
Oh, excuse me. My apologies.
My number 2 is going to be Stephon Diggs, touchdown, the same year he won the Super Bowl against the Saints. The cornerback, I forget his name, Williams, I believe, for the Saints, just bails on the play. Diggs scores in the final seconds to go to the conference championship against the Eagles. Remember sitting on my couch watching that one, and thank God we're about to face the Vikings and Case Keenum as opposed to Drew Brees and the Saints. So I always feel blessed to have seen that play and the fact that we got to smoke the Vikings in the conference championship instead of playing the Saints. And then my number 1 is easy. It's the greatest play in NFL history, I think, inarguably. The Philly special is the most game-changing Super Bowl play I've ever seen and the most gutsy call. Doug Peterson on the goal line. Trey Burton's touchdown to Nick Foles. It was insane to watch. It really was. And the idea, too, of using a play that you got from the Patriots against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, like that right there is alone why Doug Peterson was able to outsmart Belichick in that game and do something that no coach has ever done against Belichick.
I definitely like your list, but it's kind of reversed. So I'll start with my odd man out. My odd man out today is the Philly special. To a Philadelphia Eagles fan, that play means everything. And trust me, I loved watching it. I thought it was a great play. I thought it was a huge momentum swing, and I thought it was like a big middle finger to the Patriots. And I really enjoyed that. I just think that in terms of where they were at in the game, they still had a whole, a quarter and a half to play, 2 quarters to play. It was just in the middle of the game, and it was definitely cool. But, if that play wasn't in the Super Bowl, I feel like that play wouldn't have been on your list. But I definitely think the Philly special is something, special. So number 5, uh, Ben Roethlisberger drops back, corner of the end zone. Still one of the most controversial calls in NFL history, and I want to get Mark's take on this. But the Santonio Holmes catch in the end zone, where he put his hands up and he got his toe in, I think he got his toe in. But there are still people on that Cardinals team like Darnell Dockett who say, no, he never got his foot in. Like, he put his foot on top of his foot to make it seem like 2 feet. And I looked at the video and there's a shot. Mark, where do you think that ranks? That catch?
I think it's a phenomenal play. I remember watching that Super Bowl too, but I hated the way it ended because one of my favorite players of all time is in that game and still doesn't have a Super Bowl because of that catch. And I truly believe that should have been Larry Fitzgerald's Super Bowl. Larry Fitzgerald took that ball to that house before the Santonio Holmes play, up the middle. I thought it was game over. And I hate Ben Roethlisberger. I don't like him whatsoever. I don't like his personality. I think he's overrated. So I really wish that game had turned out differently. It changes the way Roethlisberger's entire career is. But you give credit to Holmes. That catch is ridiculous. It's reminiscent of the catch Joe Montana Clark. Really reminds you of something like that. But I just wish it turned out differently. I wish Larry Fitzgerald got his Super Bowl that year with Kurt Warner.
Yeah, Kurt Warner was the head of the greatest show on turf, and that was something special. That Rams defense that marched all their way to the Super Bowl. What a crazy offense! Holt, Warner, Dickerson, not Dickerson. Eric Dickerson played a long time ago. Marshall Faulk. Eric Dickerson was great, but it was Marshall Faulk. And, Kurt Warner finally got back to the Super Bowl, and he was old. He was an old man. So, yeah, that Super Bowl definitely should have gone to the Cardinals, but that play was unbelievable. Number 4, same Super Bowl, same team, other half. James Harrison's 99-yard touchdown to the house. He picked off Kurt Warner in the red zone, ran all the fastest I've ever seen a guy his size run. James Harrison's a big dude, He's a big dude. Like he's famous for all those lifting videos. If you watch that play, he gets in the end zone and his body just flails because he needs oxygen. He couldn't breathe. And that was right before the half ended. And I thought that was like Mark said with the Philly special, it was a huge momentum shift in the game. And I think that's what makes great moments great. When you could feel the energy completely shift to one side, like the Philly special, like the Holmes catch, like the James Harrison return. Number 3, just because it hits the heart, Peyton Manning finishes his career winning Super Bowl 50 in an absolute, monster, hammer game. And it wasn't even him. It was his defense. And, it's crazy that players like Derek Jeter end their career, at Yankee Stadium with a walk-off. It's crazy that Ray Lewis finishes his career with a Super Bowl. You can't make this stuff up. That's sports. And I thought, that moment was so good because, 2 years prior to that, 3 years prior to that, Peyton Manning didn't even know if he was going to play another game of football because of his neck. So for him to be, on Mount Olympus, raising that Lombardi trophy with literally one of the most famous quarterbacks of all time, John Elway, who came out of one of the most quarterback-heavy draft classes, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, you couldn't have written a better story. And so that's why I think Peyton Manning winning Super Bowl 50 is at number 3. Number 2, the best catch of all time. Mark probably knows what I'm talking about. The Odell Beckham catch against the Cowboys. Mark, as an Eagles fan, I need to know, what did you think about this catch?
So I always there's a special place in my heart for moments that I watch happen live. I don't know about you. Like, there's something about it when you watched something happen. You didn't just see a replay about it later. You watch it live. It holds a different place. That catch, I don't. One game every year I don't watch Giants Cowboys. I don't care. I don't ever want to watch a Giants Cowboys game because I hate both teams. Just being honest. So I remember I'm in high school at the time, and I'm downstairs in my office like doing homework, and the game is just like on in the background upstairs, and I heard like my dad go, "Oh my god!" Like couldn't believe what happened, and I like am listening to Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels like
Here's a guy.
losing their mind after this catch. So I ran upstairs, and when I watched that, like my jaw did drop. It was that play defies physics. It makes no sense that he caught that ball, and it's something that Odell does over and over again. But the funny thing is that Odell's never made a catch in his career that really mattered whatsoever towards winning anything. So that play was in like week 2. I can't put it in my list.
Number one, another Giants moment in the Super Bowl against the undefeated Patriots over Rodney Harrison, the David Tyree helmet catch. Let me tell you, that play was about 10 seconds, and I had 3 heart attacks. I had a heart attack when Eli got sacked. I had a heart attack when Eli stepped up in the pocket. And I had a heart attack when Tyree went up for the ball against probably one of the hardest hitting safeties during that season, Rodney Harrison. Mark, again, I need to ask you, how did you feel about that catch?
That one's ridiculous. It's another thing. Like, the Giants just those plays. It seemed like over and over again. I truly believe in Giants history. That play is just so like fluky. Like you can't repeat that. That would never happen ever again. But when I look at like the Giants history, I think people forget about Mario Manning to Manningham on the sideline in their second Super Bowl.
That was a great catch too. I just didn't want to put 2 Giants catches on there from the Super Bowl.
But to me, that was an even better throw. Whereas the Tyree play is just luck, like pure luck. Excuse me. But so I just think Tyree's play will never be repeated. But like there's iconic plays in Super Bowls like that will never ever be repeated. It reminds me of a play that I left off my list: the Julian Edelman catch, the Super Bowl against the Falcons. That play was very similar. Incredibly lucky, but changed the course of a season and the course of a champion. And as a Giants fan, like no doubt, if I was a Giants fan, that's at the top of my list. So I don't blame you there. And it's funny to look at. Philly Special is my number 1 play. Tyree's yours. It makes sense. Like though, you have a special place in your heart for the moments for your favorite teams that like brought you championship. And I feel bad for a sports fan that has never experienced that with their team. You know.
All I know is that 2007 Giants team would destroy that Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That defense, okay, all right. Justin Tuck and Strahan in the midst of a 20.5 sack season.
Dude,
all right.
We beat Brady. You guys beat Brady too, but if our defense is facing Eli Manning, you know how many times Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox are gonna sack Eli Manning? Oh my god!
Fletcher Cox is gonna throw out his hip before he sacks Eli Manning. So,
question on the social media page. We're gonna post a poll right after the show. Who would win in a rematch Super Bowl? That Giants team or the 2017 Eagles Super Bowl team? It'll be right up after the show.
It'll be right up after the show. All right. We're going to change the topic a little bit. I feel like, we've had too much football and we're going to have more football. So just real quick, we're going to have our way too early Final Four standing in the NBA. By that, I mean the 2 teams that make the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 teams that make the Western Conference Finals. So, Mark, I'm going to let you jump right into the Eastern Conference Finals. What's your prediction? And then who goes to the championship?
I'm sure you guys picked who I'm going to go for in one of my spots. And I'm not even biased. I think across the board, most analysts and NBA fans are looking at the Sixers as having a wide open spot right now after Kyrie leaves the Celtics. I think the Nets are going to be good in a year, but they're a year away. Kawhi leaves the Raptors, which it's literally a wide open door. Then you have a Bucks team that in Giannis that really doesn't have all that much around him. They got Middleton back, but like that team doesn't exactly scare me. I think the Sixers are actually going to be the favorite to that Eastern Conference Finals. Love what they did. They added Al Horford, bring Tobias. Yeah, we had to part ways with Jimmy Butler, but I think Ben Simmons coming back. He's going to. I'm not saying he's going to take a 3-pointer this year. Or I'm not saying he's going to be consistently shooting it, but I think he's going to take it, and he's going to be taking a lot more mid-range shots. If he gets the confidence to do that, now he has Al Horford, a veteran, to teach him a little bit, teach Joel Embiid, and Al Horford spelling Joel Embiid and making his minutes go down a little bit in the regular season so that he's healthier for the postseason. That's going to be a key. I think it'll get us to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not saying we're going to win the finals, but we'll get there. If I had to pick the team we're facing when we get there, it's close. I think the 3 teams that I mentioned are the ones that are going to be there. I think the Nets are a year away with a healthy Durant. But truthfully, I'm actually going to take the Celtics. I like Kemba Walker replacing Kyrie Irving a lot. I think Kemba Walker fits that team better than Kyrie did. And people forget that when Kyrie was on the court in the last 2 years, the Celtics seemed to be a worse team at times. And I think Kemba Walker's a better personality for that team, a better fit to go with that young talent. Kyrie, I think, needs to play with veterans like he did with LeBron. He can't be the veteran leading young guys. Kemba Walker fits in with that young core, whereas Kyrie is more of he's not a leader. He really isn't. And now I think Kyrie's going to be a good fit with the Nets once KD gets there. DeAndre Jordan, those are veterans who can work with him. So I'm going to have Celtics, Sixers. Sixers beat the Celtics. And then in the West, I'm going to go with definitely the Clippers. I love what they did. Not just because of Paul George, not just because of Kawhi Leonard. They already had a phenomenal young core that they had been building for a while with trades that they made, positioning them for this opportunity. That team is ready to go, and they have a coach who can do it, has done it before in Doc Rivers. So they're going to be my number 1 team, and I think they're going to go to the finals against the Sixers. That's what I have. I have Clippers beating the Sixers. But in that other spot, I don't even have the Lakers. I don't love obviously, you got to love LeBron and AD, but I hate the rest of the team they built around them. What happened with DeMarcus Cousins, that was just a waste of money and a desperate move. And it's a shame because they could have made other moves later in the offseason, maybe even a Russell Westbrook, if they hadn't wasted that money on DeMarcus Cousins right when they lost out on Kawhi. So my other Western Conference team is going to be the Rockets. I like that Russell Westbrook, James Harden combination. They still have Clint Capella. They still have all the role players because they didn't trade them all. It's going to hurt not having Chris Paul, but I think him and Harden weren't really meshing down the stretch. I like that Rockets team. I like them to lose to the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. Let's hear what you got, Graham.
So I don't really need to touch up on the Eastern Conference. I think you said it perfectly. I just think, if the chemistry is what it's supposed to be, the Sixers are gonna have an easy time in the East. Don't sleep on Toronto. I'm gonna be honest with you. I still think Toronto's filled with great players. They don't have Kawhi Leonard, and that's a huge blow. So you know what? And you know what? The Celtics. I understand that Kemba Walker is really good, but I also think that Ben Simmons is better. I also think that the Nets have a really good shot. But my pick has to be, as you said before, the Sixers over the Celtics. It's a really clear-cut picture. And, that's why I want to spend a lot of time on the Western Conference right now. the Western Conference is in the air, and the Houston Rockets approach this situation in my mind the best in a way that they look at it as it's not a speed race. It's more of a marathon, and I think them waiting it out for Westbrook to request a trade and ignoring all this Kawhi BS. They signed Russell. They signed the most explosive point guard in the world. Um, with that in mind, it's all up to the front court now. Clint Capella needs to step up, and they don't have Trevor Ariza anymore. They have Eric Gordon. They need to step up if the Rockets want a chance. But that's why I think I'm going to give the Rockets another 2 years. Western Conference right now, I think it's looking Clippers versus Lakers, and I hate this is going to be one of the highest grossing NBA playoffs. Mark my words now, the NBA is going to make more money in ticket sales this upcoming playoffs than ever before. Because you're going to have matchups for 7 games straight that mean the most with 5 All-Stars in a game. And it's going to be like, wow, you could watch a Game 7 with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Dwight Howard. Okay, even Dwight Howard. This is going to, even the Nets, when KD comes back, this is going to be, mark my words, literally mark my words. This is going to be the highest grossing NBA season. Highest grossing Christmas, highest grossing everything. So that's my take on this season. So I'm definitely excited for this season. So, and then in the finals, it's going to be Clips, Sixers, and I think it's going to be Clippers in 5. I don't think the Sixers are good enough to stop that team. And that's no, insult to the Sixers. The Western Conference has just notoriously played better basketball,
I'm a Sixers fan. I think I don't know the way that the league is right now. I think that it's a finals or disappointment year for the Sixers. I really believe that they're set up to go to the finals this year, especially because KD isn't healthy yet. But I don't think they're expected to win it. You gotta expect them to lose to a team like the Clippers, barring any injuries or weird fluke things that happen. There's no way they're gonna be able to compete with Paul George and Kawhi.
And you know what? I've never seen a season where I've said a team really needs to cherish these games against the West. But every game the Sixers play against the West, they need to be on their A game, because come playoff time, when they go up, against the West, they already have played their best basketball because they don't have Jimmy Butler anymore, and Butler was a huge asset to that team. And I thought paying Tobias Harris all that money was a really big risk for you guys, really big.
I think we had to do it. It was the way the offseason, and it put us in a position where we might have had to overpay a little bit, but it was a play that was the option we needed to complete that team.
Agreed. Okay, now with that, I have a really, in my mind, hot take. I'm really happy about how the FIBA basketball tournament went. It shows that there's fine. I've never watched a competitive basketball game before with the United States, and to see them actually have to hustle and play basketball instead of just throwing half court alley oops, as cool as that is, I thought it was really good for the game. I thought it was on a national level a really good look, and it's just nice to see competitive international basketball. And I understand come Olympics time it's going to be different. All right, the Olympics, you're going to have James Harden, Russell Westbrook, but for right now, I think it's nice to see that FIBA is having NBA players who you really wouldn't think are all-stars, and they're just playing basketball, and they're getting better. And I think it's going to show in the season that not having just all-stars on the team wiping the floor with other teams is good for the game. Mark?
I think at the same time, I wasn't impressed at all by the effort that the U.S. basketball gave. They had talent there to perform, and they didn't. It was weak. effort all around. In my opinion, I thought I don't think they needed to be stars, but like it was just the Celtics team. I didn't like that, and I felt like there should have been more equal representation across the NBA with the U.S. team. It was cool to see the rest of basketball kind of show what they had to offer, but I don't think we need to stack the team every year. But it would have been nice to see some variety. Like we don't really get to see that a lot. Teams from players from different teams coming together for an event like that, which is what makes it so special. It wasn't like that this year because they were all the Celtics players. It wasn't like a special, let's get to see a bunch of players on different teams play together and win a championship. No, or win a gold medal. No, it was just Celtics. And for me, as a Sixers fan and as a basketball fan in general, I didn't really enjoy watching that. But I think I agree with your argument that watching the rest of the teams, the rest of the FIBA basketball in other countries, like that was fun and that made it more intriguing to watch.
So, yeah, it can go either way here. It definitely is good for the world in terms of their teams getting better, playing better, and basketball is just one of those things where it's just an American dominated sport with a few countries sprinkled in there, and I think that's how it's always going to be. So before we get into what I like to call Mark's Matrix, where Mark is going to be picking all the teams now, and we're going to go into Graham and Mark of the Day. Mark, give us your opinion on this whole Antonio Brown situation.
Yeah, I mean, Graham just gave his hot take on FIBA basketball. My hot take, the hottest one I have right now is on Antonio Brown because I think this guy is a waiting time bomb, and I'm gonna come out and say I think this will be his last season ever in the NFL, and he will not get to the end of the season. I think he'll get cut by the Patriots by the end of the year and never play another game in the NFL because the news that keeps coming out about this sexual harassment or with his trainer, like it's two different stories I believe that came out. I just think they are waiting to pull the trigger on this, and it's not going to be pretty. And I hate to judge somebody, but you have to play a factor into the fact that this isn't the first time something has happened like this. Antonio Brown is building over and over again this stigma on him, and it doesn't look good. There's a cloud over his head, and it's getting darker and darker by the day. I don't think he's going to last it throughout this year. I'm disgusted by the player he's become, by the person he seems to be, and it's a shame because he was arguably the most talented receiver since Jerry Rice, and he had the chance to build a resume that was close to Jerry Rice's, and now it's just all going to go down the toilet in the coming year. I really believe. I think this could be his last season in the NFL. It's not looking good.
All I'm going to say is that he is the master of manipulation. He's an embarrassment. He is a total joke who is self-centered, and he only gives a damn about himself. What he did was the most unprofessional move I have ever seen in sports. That's all I'm saying about this. I think Antonio Brown is a waste of money. I think he's not worth the talent, and I think he should just take his money and leave. So with that, we're going to go into Mark's Matrix. Mark, I'm going to rattle off every game this weekend, and you're going to give me a score and what you think, all right?
Yeah, it sounds good. One last thing on Antonio Brown. We've all watched past month the saga that is Antonio Brown. And you know what it makes me think of, Graham? Is a decade from now, maybe 2 decades from now, ESPN in their, probably be a hologram at that point getting sent out to all the games. But you got to think that this is just a 30 for 30 that is waiting to happen.
Live.
And that makes me think of what we discussed before the show, next week, Odd Man Out, get ready for Mark and Graham listeners. We're going to be doing our Odd Man Out segment of top 5, and then our 6th Odd Man Out future 30 for 30s that are happening as we speak. So that's going to be a really fun one. Just send it before the show next week. Maybe reach out to us with some of the ideas you guys have. 30 for 30s that have happened throughout our lives that are going to be made in the future. It should be a really interesting topic. But let's move on to Sunday slate. Let's hear the games you have to offer.
All right, Titans, Jags. Who you got and what's the score?
Titans 20, Jags 16.
All right, Miami, Dallas.
Dallas 31, Dolphins 10.
Cincinnati, Buffalo.
Buffalo 34, Cincinnati 17.
You really believe in this Buffalo offense, huh?
Yeah, you're going to hear about it soon with my mark of the day. Buffalo, sneaky playoff team. Watch out.
Lions versus Eagles.
Eagles 38, Lions 24.
Jets, Pats.
Pats 30. Pats 41. Jets 20. Actually, change that to 10.
Ooh.
Third
So
string.
you think the Pats are going to lay a smackdown on the Jets?
Third string quarterback. I'm forgetting about that. Luke Falk. Nah, 10 points.
Atlanta versus Indy.
Huh.
I'm taking the Colts here.
I was just gonna say I'll go Colts 30, Falcons 28.
The Falcons just have a rich history of not winning when they're supposed to win. And I like Jacoby Brisket. I'm a big fan of the Briskinator.
I
LA Raiders versus Minnesota Vikings.
LA Raiders. Oakland.
Oakland Raiders.
I'm gonna go a little surprise here. 27-17 Raiders.
27 what?
17 Raiders.
17-20 Raiders. Right?
No, 27-17 Raiders.
27-17 Raiders. Okay, another great game. Baltimore, Kansas City. This is going to be a shootout.
34. 21 Chiefs.
Ooh. What if I told you that I think this is going to be as high scoring as Rams Chiefs was last season?
Oh, yeah. I think it gets a wake up call. I think the Chiefs smack them.
The Chiefs defense is lackluster.
Yeah. Point to be made.
All right. Voted by America as most boring game of the week. Denver, Green Bay.
Green Bay 28, Denver 13.
Carolina, Arizona. 2 wild cards.
Arizona 27, Carolina 23.
So a tight one in Arizona. New York Giants versus Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay 26, Giants 23.
Wow. You don't believe in Danny Jones getting the job done?
I think he'll actually play a good game, but I think the Bucs will squeak one out. I believe I forget what the spread on the game is. I saw it earlier, but I would take the Giants with the spread. It's like +6, something like that.
My personal favorite game this week, New Orleans versus Seattle.
Seattle 31, New Orleans 24.
Now, this game could possibly land Teddy Bridgewater a nice job somewhere if he plays well. Breeze is out for a little bit.
Possibly.
Bridgewater,
terrible. The Saints wanna keep Bridgewater for when Brees retires. He's getting up there in age.
Now, I think Taysom Hill is going to have a big part in this game.
Yeah, I think he's going to continue to have more and more of a role now that Brees is gone.
Texans Chargers, another great game.
It's going to be really good. I'm going to actually go Texans 31, Chargers 28, a very tight one.
Steelers versus 49ers.
Steelers 26, Niners 23.
Rams versus the Browns, another great game.
I don't think it's a great game at all. I think the Browns are going to get smacked. I'll go Rams 35. Actually, go 38. Rams 38, Browns 14.
We're going to wrap it up Monday night with the Chicago Bears and the Washington Redskins.
This will be a boring one as well. I'll actually go with the Skins. Give me the Skins. They've actually played well despite being 0-2. I'll go 24-10 Redskins. The Bears have looked awful.
You heard it here. That was Mark's Matrix. Next week, we are going to have Semegram Says.
There you go. We're excited.
We are livid. All right, we are going to wrap things up today. By the way, today was a great show. Like and subscribe at Mark and Graham on Instagram or at Mark and Graham _podcast, at Mark and Graham podcast on YouTube. Drop a like, comment, like the polls, support. We love you guys. My Logan or
Graham.
My Graham of the day. My Graham of the day goes to Daniel Jones. All right. This kid had a great preseason, had one really bad play against Dallas when they put him in, but it's okay. He's a rookie. He's nervous. He's going to start this game and he's going to throw a touchdown on the first. He's going to throw a touchdown on the first drive. The Giants have scored on their first drive every game. Why should this week be different? I think Daniel Jones is going to show everyone what he has, and I think Tampa Bay is the perfect team to do it against. Daniel Jones, you get my Graham of the day.
All right. Mark of the day. I'm going with a guy I really, really, really believe in this year, and I think he has showed it already. My guy, Josh Allen of the Bills. They go and play the Bengals this coming week, and they are 2-0. Josh Allen, in my opinion, is the best quarterback from that draft class last year. That's a draft class that includes Baker Mayfield. Yes, I'm taking Josh Allen over Baker Mayfield. I'm taking Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson, taking him over Sam Darnold, and obviously over Josh Rosen. The man is not just a passer. He runs like, I get it. Lamar Jackson is the most mobile quarterback I've seen since Mike Vick. But don't sleep on Josh Allen's athleticism. This guy runs the football, and he has a combination of an arm and legs like I haven't seen in a long, long time. I think it's a shame that the Bills haven't put any pieces around him, but to be 2-0 and to have the numbers that he has already in the season in an offense that really doesn't include any sort of weapon, if they gave him any pieces, the Bills are going to have a future with this kid. I loved him coming out of college, and I'm telling you right now, Josh Allen has a bright, bright future in the NFL. Starting this year, the Bills are a sneaky playoff team. Watch it.
So there you have it. Mark and Grahams of the day. One rookie, one sort of rookie quarterback. Another great episode of the Mark and Graham podcast. Give us a like, give us a follow, comment, like the polls. Polls will be going up soon on the Instagram. We will see you guys next week. Thank you, everyone, for a great show.
All right, thanks. Watch Sunday game. Track my pick. Let me know how good or how terribly bad I did. And we'll see you guys next week. We're excited. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace.